people, brown people, poor people, rich people, and we're all here together united for one common goal. That's to create a more peaceful, a more just, and a more sustainable planet. Are you with me? All right. Right now, the world is in crisis. Systems are breaking down. We've got an environmental crisis. We've got an economic crisis. We've got a political crisis. And now more than ever, we need all of us to come together and create powerful, positive, progressive, social change. Are you with me? It's going to take everybody working together. And in this crowd right now, we have environmentalists, we have Latino activists, we have feminists, we have liberals, we have Mormons, we have atheists, and together we need to unite. Harvey Milk knew how to build coalitions. He knew how to bring people together, and that's the spirit to which we've gathered today. In order to create a new world, in order to create positive, powerful social transformations, we've got to work together. So our speakers today are the best activists from these various different movements are here to inspire you to change the world. All right? So, our first speaker, it's on my iPhone. I want to introduce to everybody Rebecca Hall. Rebecca is, she's good. Rebecca is a visiting scholar at the University of Utah's S.J. Quinney College of Law. After graduating from UC Berkeley's Bolt Hall School of Law in '89, she represented low-income families and for 7 years in the area of housing law and anti-discrimination cases. Rebecca's a lesbian mom. She and her partner have been together for 20 years and have an 11-year-old son together. Rebecca has been an activist for over 30 years. She has been arrested 8 times for participating in nonviolent civil disobedience. Her first arrest was at the age of 16, when she was sitting in the White House protesting nuclear weapons. She is here today as a member of Peaceful Uprising, a Salt Lake City-based organization dedicated to fighting for climate justice. Give it up for Rebecca Hall.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so the other day I heard someone complaining about the hard times we're all living in. He said, I don't have time to worry about the environment. I'm unemployed and I have a family to feed. Well, I'm soon to be unemployed and I also have a family to feed. A queer family, which is how Troy dragged me onto the stage to represent. And this is what I have to say about troubled times, our families, and the environment. First, we need to stop talking about the environmental movement. It's no longer the environmental movement. It is the survival movement. It is the movement for climate justice. The global climate is going to hell in a handbasket, and that will affect all of us, not just polar bears. James Hansen, one of the world's leading climatologists, has explained that we have to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050, a goal that can only be accomplished by stopping construction of all new coal-fired power plants worldwide and phasing out existing ones over the next 40 years. He explains that we must get started now unless we want to turn over to our children a world out of control. The concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased more than a third since the pre-industrial level, mainly due to fossil fuels and mass deforestation. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is now at its highest level in 650,000 years. Are you up with me? Okay. Okay. This means that important climate changes will continue under our climate system's own momentum. This is called a tipping point, okay? We are at the precipice of a great tipping point. If we go over the edge, it will be a transition to a completely different planet, an environment far outside the range that has been experienced by humanity. There will be no return within the lifetime of any generation that we can imagine. What does this mean for us? Many things, many bad things. Just a couple. I don't want to be here and totally bumming you out, but the loss of fresh water for drinking and for agriculture for over a quarter of the world's population. We need water to live, and as they say, we cannot live without our lives. Repeated worldwide coastal tragedies associated with storms and a continuously rising sea level. Picture Hurricane Katrina on steroids. Or even with minimal sea level rise, we can forget about living on the Gulf Coast, or Bangladesh, or Cairo's Nile Delta, or the Pacific Islands, or the coast of Italy. Slightly higher sea levels, and we can say goodbye to New York City, where I'm from, DC, and LA. The North Polar ice cap is melting so fast, twice as fast as the most worried climatologists feared. Al Gore and his goddess Gaia believes that it may completely disappear within 5 years. That'll be it for the polar bears. But that ice cap is already floating in water, so it may not have a huge direct impact on sea level rises. But if the major ice concentrations on land in Antarctica and Greenland melt into the sea, I might be able to sell you some oceanfront property here in Utah. All right, global displacement of people. If California and Bangladesh and all these places become unlivable, where does everyone go? We're talking about the creations of millions, if not billions, of climate refugees. So what can we do? We need a change of political climate. Just as we had in the past when people mobilized to make something no longer acceptable. Segregation, apartheid, and that requires a whole array, a whole spectrum of actions, from consuming less to legislative activism to shutting down coal-burning power plants, just like we shut down nuclear plants in the 70s and 80s. We all need to plug into this movement for survival somewhere. There is a place for each of us. We need to educate ourselves. Go online and watch an amazing 10-minute video called Wake Up, Freak Out, Then Get a Grip. Google will find it for you. And come to Peaceful Uprising's teach-in on June 20th and June 21st at Liberty Park. It's at 2 o'clock, right? 2 o'clock. You can go to our website, peacefuluprising.org, and we should have information about it. So to finish up, right now politicians are telling both the queer movement and the movement for climate justice that we must settle for moderate, useless compromises. They're telling us that we must settle for compromises that won't save our planet from devastation. This is unacceptable. We must unite to demand more than politics as usual, to demand that our politicians actually protect our rights and our futures. The destruction of our climate is not something that will happen in 100 years, in someone else's future. This is my son's future, your children's future. As queer parents, we fight for the rights of our families and our children. How about the right to a livable future? A right to a world that has not spiraled out of control. If we do nothing in this last window open to us, these horrible events can happen in the lifetime of my son, when my son is my age. My 11-year-old son will be my age when we have already created the largest mass extinction since the asteroid took out the dinosaurs, when a quarter of the world's population may lose access to drinking water, and when sea level rises have made large parts of the world uninhabitable. The time to act is now. It's the only time to act. It's now. If we ignore the survival movement, we may have